Hey everyone, Rick here, and
I'm Mike, trapped in Rick's basement.
folks, what the plan is for today, this is going to be a little different. You've seen my top favorite lists. It's time to show you some of my friends. So as he said, this is Mike. We're going to do Mike's top 10 favorite tabletop games and see if this can be like the first of a series. I would love to expand this to other people. Have, some other people do their top favorite games and see how this goes. So this is number one. We'll see how this goes. Now, if this sinks like the Titanic, maybe this will be a one and done. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, and I have not seen this list ahead of time, so this is going to be really exciting for me as well. All right, so Mike, kick us off with number 10.
With number 10 is one of my absolute favorites. It's kind of a complex game, but once you learn it, it really is not very well three-dimensional printed, very simple. Foundations of Rome.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely love Foundations of Rome. It is one of those games that is, what do they call it? It's like overproduced. Like it could be just, flat cardboard tiles on, but they did these plastic buildings.
Especially for the price that it's at, too.
Right?
Shoo! That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
It honestly really is. It's a great deal if you can find it even. It's hard to find. I know it was like Kickstarter, and then maybe some retailers got it. I don't know if it was just if the retailer pledged it on the Kickstarter or if it did go to a wider distribution. But if you can find it, definitely get it. It's a fantastically, as Mike said, kind of streamlined gameplay with these insane components, right? All right. That was number 10, folks. What is number 9?
My number 9 was my first true board game I've ever owned, and this is the one that I got for Christmas, and then Rick got me the expansion a long time ago. Shadows over Camelot with the expansion of Merlin's Company.
Absolutely. So, Shadows over Camelot, obviously a classic game by Days of Wonder. There is a trader mechanic. We have not used the trader mechanic.
Correct.
We have enjoyed it as a fully co-op game, and we've had some success, but also some failure.
Yeah, correct.
So what is your favorite thing about Shadows over Camelot?
If you really love the medieval Renaissance times, like this guy over here, is that it really incorporates the old times of the fantasies of all when you have a wizard, for example, you always have to do a bad deed before you do a good deed. So in that game, you have to do something bad before you can continue to do the good deeds to try to win the game.
I love that aspect, and it's not just do this bad deed every turn. You have the choice.
Correct.
Do you want to place a catapult? Do you want to draw a card? So, you're kind of balancing that, but everyone has a special ability as well, which is nice. So we all have something we can do that someone else can't do. But yeah, that good deed, bad deed is actually very fun. And I love the different mini games. Like over here, we need sets of cards. Over here, we need like a full house of cards. Over here, we just need, like for Excalibur, isn't it just throw cards away to bump them? So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then once you do get, like Excalibur over to your side or the Grail, each of those pieces give you something really cool you can do as well. So fantastic game.
And also just like Foundations of Rome, they actually 3D printed all the characters and all the stuff for the pieces, and it's really well made.
Right. So yeah, fantastically produced plastic pieces. Days of Wonder was always known for fantastic components, and that Shadows over Camelot is no exception. So far I'd say Mike, he's 2 for 2 so far. These are some fantastic games. I'm waiting to see if there's any that I'm like, really? But we'll see. All right, number 8.
My number 8 was Christmas present from this guy once again. It was Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. And then I went and got the expansion for it. But there's like 15 expansions and they're still creating more, which is unbelievable. The pieces are well decorated just like Shadows and like Foundations of Rome. Very well decorated. There's a little bit of complexities in there. But again, once you understand the rules, it's really not. It's just a strategic game. Is basically what it is.
So if you've noticed so far, 3 for 3 games with fantastic components. So Mike is definitely someone who likes his miniatures and figures, which I know I am absolutely 100% that same way. But yeah, so Mike is a huge Power Rangers fan. We've even started dipping our toes into the Power Rangers RPG, and that's been fantastic. But yeah, Heroes of the Grid, Power Rangers in a board game. Played the base game. Do you remember what the expansion name was that you have? Is it
The Shattered Grid.
Shattered Grid. So we've been playing with that, and I love that expansion because it doesn't like add a whole bunch of different things to the game. It's like more of the things you love, more villains, more different rangers, and all the rangers have abilities. And yeah, another game with some fantastic components. Nice. All right, number 7.
Number 7. It is one of my personal favorites because if you love to roll dice, you love to role play, you get to do both. If you want to do one over the other, you can. Dicey Depths Adventures.
Nice! You included Dicey Depths on here? Fantastic. All right, so folks, if you're unfamiliar with Dicey Depths, which I don't know why you would be because I've made several Dicey Depths videos, but it is kind of a tabletop RPG game hybrid that I created myself. And we've played so many sessions of it. I can't keep up with how many different characters we've created and how many characters have fallen. What are some of like your favorite things about Dicey Depths?
Well, it's like you create your own origin where you come from, and again, the way you do it, you have to roll the dice. Again, you love dice. One of the ways to do it. And as you go along, you go through it. Before you even go to the big combat things, you have to go through certain things in order to get to where you need to go. The cool part is when you're doing that, you're not necessarily losing any points or any lives or anything. You just recharge after that, and then as you go along, you're either earning some food, some tools, or anything like that. And then once you go along, then you may even come across and maybe take somebody along with you.
Yes. It's like my favorite parts of so many different games all combined into one, and you can kind of role play it out if you want to, but it is mostly like combat focused and leveling up and going shopping. That's like one of my favorite things to do in real life. So, well, nice. I can't believe you added that to the list. Well, that's fantastic. All right, what is number 6?
My number 6 is a gift that my sister got me that I really love. It's got some familiarity to a little bit of Monopoly, but not too much. It's where you can do a little bit of auctions. You can go around buy and sell things. And it's one way to earn money. It's called Racoon Tycoon.
Absolutely.
And what I've learned about that game, for those of you that know, the person that created the game, I believe, was the creator of WarQuest.
Yes, Glenn Drover. Fantastic. And so far you've named 2 games that Mike has actually introduced to me, Shadows and now Racoon Tycoon, because I had never played either of those prior to Mike bringing them over. And yeah, Racoon Tycoon's a lot of fun because I always love, and you know this, when you collect resources and cash them in for things. And in this game, the different auctions, it's bidding and auctions is actually a lot of fun here, and the different building tiles that you can get, which give you special abilities, and yeah, it's a lot of fun and great components, wood components for all the different resources also. Well, I guess depending on the level of the game you have, some games are just cardboard tokens, some are actual wood tokens, but yeah, fantastic. Another great game. So was that number 6?
That was number 6.
So we're now to the top 5. Oh my gosh, here we go.
So,
number 5.
So the first 5, or from 10 to 5, those were my complex. How do you say that word? Complex games that have a little bit more difficulty to them. But like I said, I love them because once you understand them, then the game just flows all on its own. But now these next 5 are just the simple ones that you literally sit down, read one direction, and then you just go out and play the game. Right. So my number 5 is NFL Rush Zone.
Oh my god! This is fantastic though. I love that you included this game because this is a perfect example of kind of a mass market game still being fun to play. Like it doesn't have to be some crazy designer Euro game with a 30-page rule book and a ton of components to be fun. NFL Rush Zone is roll dice, but actually, and the components are actually pretty nice, right?
Yeah,
like you have like end zone things. What do you call those, pylons? And you have the plastic goal post.
And then you have those little footballs that help you roll the dice on it. We don't really use that anyway, right? Because you don't know if that person's cheating behind there. Oh, I got this. Show me your dice.
So how many times have I beat you in that game?
0.
0 times. Have I even come close? Like within a score or 2, maybe?
You come close.
Oh my gosh, Mike absolutely destroys me at NFL Rush Zone. So, That's probably also why I made the list. No, I'm just kidding. It actually is a lot of fun if you just want to just roll some dice and play football. All the teams are there. Of course, it was made years ago prior to some of these more recent teams changing cities and stuff, but still fantastic. All right, number 4.
My number 4 is, I kind of split the difference between this one because I couldn't tell. I put this one because, again, I've yet to be beaten in it.
Is that right?
It's called the Whatnot Cabinet.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then the other difference is what I really love because it's all visual and it's all putting things together. Just you doing it on your own. Nothing too fancy about it. Picture perfect.
Oh yeah. So is Picture Perfect on the list too?
Yes.
Okay, well we'll get to that in a second. Probably.
It was between those two. I was like, oh man, I can't tell.
Right. So Whatnot Cabinet is a great collect a tile, place it somewhere in your cabinet. You're trying to get certain things in rows, certain things in columns, and scoring points that way. And yeah, you're right. It is fairly streamlined. There's just a certain number of actions you can do to help you claim these tiles. And the cool thing about that game, if you recall, is the more random the tiles that you're going to get, the action you take, the earlier in turn order for the next round you'll go. So if you leave it more up to chance, you are going to go earlier next round, whereas if you pick a more specific action that says like draw 2 tiles here and 2 tiles from the bag and you get to pick which 2 you want to keep, then you'll go later in the next round. So it's kind of an interesting balance. You can be random and go earlier, or be more specific but go later. So yeah, I love that game as well. All right, number 3.
My number 3, oh, this is one of my favorite. It's one of the Azul board games.
Yes.
And it's similar to Whatnot Cabinet. You pick and choose what you want to do to help build your board, and it's called Azul the Chocolatier.
Yes, Azul Master Chocolatier, which is a re-theming of just regular Azul, but I mean with the chocolate theme, it's fantastic when you have these little pieces that look like chocolates and you just want to devour them.
They literally look like candy.
So you're right, just kind of like Whatnot Cabinet, it is all about choosing and adding to your board. What about that kind of mechanism is fun for you? Just the simplicity of it, the streamlinedness?
It's the simplicity of it and the streamlining, because if you're a very, very visual person like me, you can see everything out in front of you, so you know exactly what you are looking for, and you pray to God that someone next to you doesn't take it.
Absolutely.
Like this guy over here that strategically looks at it before he waits for the person's next turn.
And that game can be mean, right? Like as the round gets lower and lower, and especially once there's a bunch of tiles in the middle, and you can almost kind of parse it out like, okay, there's like 3 picks worth of tiles left. Who's going to get left with the 8 blues that they have no room for, and they're all going to end up on the bottom minus points. So yeah, that is a lot of fun. All right, are we up to number 2?
We're up to number 2. This is one of my favorite. You lead it, you read it, you lay it down, you play it, you keep trying to beat the other person next to you until they lay a card on top of it.
Oh my gosh.
Spellcaster.
One of my absolute favorite 2-player games.
And I think this was the first game we played on our first game night together.
That very well may be. And because it's almost like Magic the Gathering in a box, so there's no cards to collect, everything's there, but you are casting these spells of different elements, and you know, thematically, each different color of card does something different. Like the green cards are going to be kind of like what blue is in Magic the Gathering, where the greens are going to allow you to manipulate the board and stuff. The reds are going to be attacking your opponent. The yellows are going to be giving you life, and the blues are going to be allowing you to collect those sapphires. And that's the other cool thing about the game. There's 2 different ways to win. You can either win by getting a certain number of those sapphires, or by destroying all your opponent's life crystals. So, all right, that is a fan. Any other comments about Spellcaster?
He's beaten me more than I win.
All right, number 1. What is your favorite game?
This one is, as you see, it all leads up to the same type of board games: building, seeing things, being able to put things together, taking the cards and putting it all together. Project L.
Oh my gosh, is that right?
We played this game so many times since we first started it. This is like, anytime we just want to play a quick game because we want to get one more game before we go out to eat, it's Project L, because it's simple and it's quick and it's only frustrating because I have yet to win. Rick always wins against anybody, and I lost by 1 point the last time we played. It was 81-80.
That was so close.
I was like, no!
I was like, thank gosh, I can't let the streak die. No, I love Project L so much. Number one, because I love those little puzzles. They're dual layered little puzzle boards and these plastic Tetra shaped pieces, putting them into these puzzles. So it's just satisfying just to even do that. But then once you complete them, the different actions you can take, the master action, getting to master the master action is really what allows you to be efficient in that game. And I agree, that is a fantastic game, and I'm always up to play Project L. Awesome. Were there any games that didn't make the list but you still really enjoy that you can think of?
Dice Forge was one of them.
Oh, yes.
Dice Hospital, which I played the other day not too long ago.
Yep.
I can't remember. It was a quick little dice game. You roll the dice and you try to match it with the cards that we played it the other day.
Which one was that one? Was
I
that
can't-
Roll for It, or was it?
Oh yeah, it was Roll
Was it
for
Roll
It.
for It? Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Yes. Nice.
Anything that has to do with dice, I like.
That is true. That is very true. Anytime there's dice involved, Mike, that typically does pretty well at that. All right. Any final words for the folks at home about gaming or in general?
I promise, I do not cheat rolling dice. He gave me a forged dice one time that it rolls nothing but a 6, but somehow I managed to never roll a 6 on it. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that. I have those. We'll have to give that another try.
And there's just so many more board games I want to play because I'm like, oh, this list is easy. And then I kept going, wait a minute, no, wait a minute, no, wait a minute, no. And because Reef was on there, because again, it was just about building the blocks and doing all this stuff. And again, there's so many board games that we're trying to play. So our goal, what we're trying to do right now is that he's got all these shelves. We're trying to complete a shelf each time we do a game night. If we can, unless if there's another beautiful board game he really wants to play, which ends up being worth it. I could say that at least.
For sure. That's the thing. It's like there's such a backlog of games we want to play and even want to replay old favorites, but then there's always new games. Just constantly an onslaught of new games.
And this, how do you make room for all of it? You get new games, how do you make room?
Exactly. We find a place to squeeze them in. All right, Mike, thank you so much for coming up with your list.
Thank you.
Here's to many more gaming events together.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time.